Welcome back to the deep dive. You ever, launch into something with just incredible energy?
Oh, yeah. Full speed ahead.
Right. Only to sort of see that momentum
Right.
quietly fade.
Hmm.
And you're left wondering, what went wrong?
Happens all the time.
It really does. And it feels like, especially today, there's this huge pressure for quick wins,
Yeah.
immediate impact.
Absolutely. Get it done yesterday.
Exactly. Well, our sources today, they're a really interesting collection of biblical and Christian perspectives. They argue that the secret to lasting, truly transformative impact, it isn't just about starting fast. It's about mastering this critical, often kind of overlooked stage they call the seed phase. And they're pretty emphatic. They say it's non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. That's strong.
It is. Now, while these insights are, rooted in ministry settings, what we're really unpacking today feels like a universal principle. For anyone building something meaningful, really.
That's exactly it. Our mission for this deep dive is really to challenge that cultural myth, the idea that speed always equals success. We're going to explore the profound power of laying these hidden foundations. We'll unpack what the seed phase truly involves, why it's so vital, and how embracing what our sources are calling strategic invisibility can lead to sustainable, resilient, and transformative impact for you.
Right.
Whether you're developing a new program, building a business, or just pursuing any long-term meaningful thing, it's about focusing on what truly lasts, not just what makes a quick splash.
The strategic invisibility.
Yeah.
Like that. It immediately grabs your attention, doesn't it?
It does.
So, okay, let's dig into this seed phase. What does it actually look like? How do these sources define this unseen foundational work?
Well, at its core, they define the seed phase as a sacred time. A time for formation, vision alignment, spiritual grounding, and relational cultivation.
Okay, sacred time.
Yeah, and it's really critical to understand it's not just some preliminary checklist you tick off,
Right, not just task A, B, C.
Exactly. Instead, it's described as an unseen, internally dynamic stage. Think of it like a seed sown deep in the soil.
Ah.
Its power, its immense power, comes from developing these robust root systems, not from, an immediate outward sprout.
Makes sense.
It's kind of like a startup stealth mode, maybe? Or an athlete's years of disciplined training way before the main event.
Good analogies.
And it fits perfectly with that ancient wisdom in Ecclesiastes 3.1, which tells us, "For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven." This phase is that season, that divinely appointed season for deep, hidden work.
In a world that's just obsessed with metrics, visible outcomes, that sounds profoundly countercultural.
It really is.
It feels like we're constantly being pushed to show our work, demonstrate impact right away. So why is this period of strategic invisibility, as you called it, why is it so essential? What's the real risk in, trying to skip it?
Oh, the risk is significant.
Yeah.
And the insights we've gathered, they really hammer this point home again and again. Without this hidden foundation, even the most ambitious projects or movements, they risk collapse. Just buckling under the weight of, untested strategies and unrooted vision.
Unrooted vision?
Yeah. It's the fundamental difference, really, between achieving some fleeting, temporary successes.
Right, the flash in the pan.
Exactly. And making an enduring, transformative impact. This hidden work, it provides the resilience, the clarity, and the sustainable growth needed to weather the inevitable challenges.
Okay.
It ensures that when things do become visible, they actually have the strength to last. Skipping it. It's like building a skyscraper on a really shallow foundation.
Yeah.
Looks impressive, maybe, for a minute, but it won't stand the test of time or any real pressure.
That makes perfect sense. And what's really insightful is how these perspectives use these powerful, ancient stories to illustrate this point. Let's look at some of those biblical blueprints you mentioned. This unseen work preceding the visible fruit.
Absolutely. The Bible gives us some really compelling examples showing this isn't some new idea. Think about Jesus's hidden years.
Okay.
He spent 3 decades, 30 years in relative obscurity in Nazareth, just growing in wisdom and favor.
30 years.
And his public ministry, the one that changed the world, it lasted only about 3 years.
Incredible ratio.
It is. That's like 10 years of hidden preparation for every 1 year of public ministry.
Yeah.
It's just a profound lesson that lasting impact is forged in patience.
Right.
Not immediate acclaim.
Patience, yeah. Not our strong suit, usually.
Definitely not. Then you've got Abraham. His decades-long journey of waiting and wandering, it wasn't wasted time. The sources call it a divine training ground.
Training ground.
Yeah, where he learned trust, obedience, before God multiplied his descendants into a whole nation.
Right.
And Joseph, think about his story. Betrayal, prison, what the sources describe as a prolonged period of unseen development.
Yeah, years in the dark.
Exactly. But in those hidden years, God was shaping his character, his wisdom, positioning him to eventually save nations. His obscurity wasn't stagnation, it was fertile ground.
Fertile ground. I like that framing.
It reframes hardship, doesn't it? Even the
Yeah.
Apostle Paul, when he got to Philippi, he didn't launch with some big fanfare.
No.
No, Acts 16 shows he started by meeting just a few women at a place of prayer by the river. He invested in presence and relationship first.
Presence and relationship.
Yeah, before any big public proclamation. And that strategic invisibility, that quiet start, it laid the foundation for one of his most loyal, most resilient churches. You see echoes of that today, right? In effective community work.
Totally. Spending time listening, building rapport before launching the big thing.
Precisely.
So these aren't just, interesting historical anecdotes. They feel like consistent blueprints.
That's a great way to put it. Blueprints.
But what strikes me is the incredible patience,
Yeah.
the discipline required to actually embrace that hidden phase, when the natural impulse must be to just do something visible right away. Do the sources talk about that internal struggle, the waiting?
Oh, they absolutely do. I mean, those stories themselves inherently speak to the struggle, right?
Right.
Waiting, being misunderstood, working without seeing immediate results.
Yeah.
That's precisely why the underlying principles of the seed phase are so important. They give you the framework, the why to endure that unseen work.
Okay, so what are those core principles?
Well, first, there's this idea of depth over visibility, meaning spiritual and organizational depth has to come before public exposure.
Dip first.
Right. Luke 6 talks about building a house on a solid rock foundation versus just on the ground. That's a universal truth, isn't it?
Absolutely. Applies everywhere.
In any field. Without those deep roots, you just build something fragile, whether it's a ministry, a business, even a relationship.
Makes sense.
What else? Second is patience and timing. And this isn't passive waiting around, it's active patience.
Active patience.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's about aligning with, well, the sources say God's timing rather than human impatience. But you could see it as aligning with the natural rhythm of growth, right?
Okay.
The texts remind us growth cannot be rushed. That's true for everything, from a kid learning to walk, to a new product finding its market, to a community initiative really taking hold.
Yeah, you can't force it.
You can't. Third principle, invisible work precedes visible fruit. 1 Corinthians puts it so clearly. I planted, Apollos watered, but God gave the growth. Our part, the human labor, is in that faithful preparation, sowing the seeds, tending the soil, and then trusting that something bigger, a greater force will bring the visible results in its own time.
So humility is key there.
Huge. We do our part, but we don't control the outcome or the timeline.
Right. And the last one.
The last one is transformation through hidden struggle. Growth, real growth, often happens in struggle and obscurity.
Doesn't sound fun, but probably true.
Haha, yeah, exactly. But just like plant roots have to push deeper when they hit rocky soil.
Okay.
Trials and hidden labor aren't just delays. They are powerful mechanisms of transformation. They forge character, resilience. They actually prepare us for what's coming next.
Like the musician practicing alone for years.
Perfect example. That hidden struggle is the transformation.
Okay, so these principles really explain the why behind the seed phase. But thinking about, what this means for you, the listener, how do these ideas translate into practical, actionable steps? The sources give us these 3 pillars, right?
Right.
For actually cultivating your own seed phase.
They do, and these pillars are really essential. They provide a kind of roadmap for this unseen season. The first one is prayer, cultivating upward.
Okay, upward.
This is about your spiritual anchoring. And we're not talking about just, rattling off requests. It's described as deep intercessory labor.
Deeper work.
Yeah, focused on discernment, clarifying the vision, seeking what the sources call spiritual authority. You could also think of it as cultivating that deep inner conviction, right? A real sense of purpose, moral clarity that guides you, rather than just chasing personal ambition.
Right, the why behind the what.
Exactly. And a practical tip they give is doing intercessory prayer walks to really understand community needs. Or, simply engaging in really thoughtful observation and active listening in the environment you want to impact.
Okay, so that's the upward cultivation. What's next?
The second pillar is preparation, cultivating inward. And this one's intensive.
Inward. Okay.
It involves character formation, developing things like humility, perseverance, resilience, real inner strength.
The stuff that gets tested later.
Precisely. It also includes relational development, building that core team based on trust and a genuinely shared vision.
Yeah.
And strategic formation, really refining your mission, your core values, your foundational beliefs or principles.
So getting your house in order internally.
Exactly. The text suggests that a ministry, or really any project, can't rise above the character and capacity of its leaders.
That's sobering.
It is. This inward work ensures you and your team have the personal and collective fortitude to lead effectively when the spotlight eventually comes on.
Okay, upward, inward. What's the third pillar?
The third is presence, cultivating outward. This is about incarnational engagement.
Incarnational, meaning?
Meaning simply being with the people before attempting to lead them.
Ah, okay. Being present.
Yes, it's about listening, serving, understanding the community deeply without an immediate agenda, just being there.
Building trust organically.
That's the key. Earning credibility, building that trust before you try to launch anything formal. It's the difference between, say, a consultant swooping in with a prepackaged solution and a true partner who actually understands the challenges because they've lived alongside them.
You know, it's interesting how active this hidden work actually is. These pillars aren't about passive waiting at all.
Not at all.
It's deliberate, disciplined engagement. It really sounds like the most critical work, just unseen.
Exactly. And because it's so critical, honest self-assessment is key to really embracing it.
Okay, how do you do that?
Well, the material we looked at provides some really good diagnostic questions. Questions to help you evaluate your readiness before you even think about a public launch.
Like what?
Things like, am I consistently cultivating my relationship with God? Or, whatever your deepest source of personal guidance is, reflection, core values, am I doing that consistently?
Okay, checking the foundation.
Right. Have I clearly articulated a mission and vision that aligns with a higher calling or a purpose beyond myself rather than just my personal ambition?
Good question.
Have I cultivated a small, spiritually mature, or just deeply committed and aligned core team who really shares the vision and values? Do I fully understand the community I feel called to serve, their needs, their culture, their context?
Knowing your audience, essentially.
Deeply knowing them. And am I personally equipped? Do I have the resilience to handle the pressures, the challenges, the responsibilities that come with public engagement?
Yeah, that's a big one.
And finally, this is a searching one. Am I embracing this hidden work as a strategic necessity, something vital? Or am I actually just delaying out of fear or uncertainty?
Oof. That requires some real honesty.
It really does. These questions force you to look inward.
Those are powerful. And these perspectives also push us to redefine success during this hidden stage, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because it must be hard to stay motivated when the work is largely invisible.
Mm-hmm.
What does winning actually look like then, without the usual external validation?
Yeah, it looks very different from the usual metrics. And shifting your mindset here is crucial. Success during the seed phase is defined first by spiritual growth and depth.
Okay.
Things like consistent personal reflection, maybe prayer, a deeper understanding of your guiding principles, demonstrating real inner resilience. Think of it like upgrading your personal operating system.
Right, building inner capacity.
Exactly. Success also looks like core team cohesion and relational health.
How the team functions.
Yeah. Is there trust that holds up even through conflict? Is there a genuinely shared vision and set of values? This is vital, whether you're building a church, a tech startup, a nonprofit, anything.
True.
Another critical measure is community engagement and impact. Even small scale. Are you having meaningful conversations? Are you doing acts of service that meet real, tangible needs? Are you building a reputation as a trustworthy presence before you launch any big programs?
So small wins, but meaningful ones.
Deeply meaningful.
Yeah.
And finally, success is seen in character and leadership formation. Things like patience under stress, integrity, a genuine servant-hearted approach.
The how matters as much as the what.
Definitely. The sources even suggest creating something like a seed phase scorecard with your team.
A scorecard.
Yeah, to track these hidden metrics, to actively celebrate these small, often unseen wins. It's about recognizing that growth in these areas is success, even if nobody outside your small circle sees it yet.
That's such a vital point, celebrating those internal wins.
Oh.
Okay, but let's talk about the flip side. What happens if we do try to skip this non-negotiable phase?
Right.
That analogy you used earlier, planting a tree without roots.
Yeah.
It's powerful. It makes me think of all those flash-in-the-pan ventures we see, right?
Yeah.
In ministry, business, everywhere.
Exactly.
The material we've looked at seems to have some pretty stark warnings about skipping this phase,
Yeah.
contrasting what they call a flash plant with a seed plant.
Yes. And the differences are really stark. Imagine a flash plant. This is maybe a church or a business, launched with huge fanfare. Social media blitzes, high energy campaigns.
Big launch event.
Right. Often gets big numbers initially, looks impressive. But without that deep seed phase work,
Uh-oh.
it commonly leads to attendance or engagement plummeting after a while. Internal conflicts start bubbling up. Leadership gets burned out. And, a few years later, the community barely remembers it was even there.
Wow. Fizzles out.
Fizzles out. As Proverbs says, by wisdom a house is built, and by understanding it is established. Wisdom and understanding, they take time. You can't fast-track them.
True. So what's the alternative? The seed plant.
Contrast that with the seed plant. This is maybe a small team dedicating, say, 18 months to prayer, service, and relationship building in their neighborhood first.
The slow, quiet work.
Exactly. They start small, maybe 30 people in a living room or a small pilot project. Growth here is described as organic, relational, and sustainable, built to last.
So the risks of skipping the seed phase are pretty clear then.
Very clear. Things like superficial discipleship in a religious context, or maybe shallow customer engagement in business, just surface level stuff.
Okay.
Also, leadership burnout is a huge risk,
Mm.
relational instability within the core team, and ultimately just short-lived impact. It doesn't last.
Yeah.
The material uses that powerful analogy again. Skipping the seed phase is like planting a tree without roots. It may sprout quickly, but the first storm will reveal its instability. And they cite real, though unnamed, failed examples. Endeavors launched based purely on personal vision, or maybe ambition, rather than a higher calling or deeper purpose. They often lead to irrelevance, disillusionment, and eventually collapse. Why? Weak foundations.
Consequences are real, predictable even.
They really are.
Wow. Well, our deep dive today has definitely challenged that conventional wisdom, that speed equals success.
For sure.
We've really seen that the seed phase, this sacred season of quiet, unseen preparation, it's profoundly biblical, yes, but also strategically wise. And, as the sources insist, utterly non-negotiable.
That's right.
For anyone looking to build something that genuinely lasts, whether that's a ministry, a business, a community project, maybe even just a personal passion.
That's the core message we really hope you take away today. That idea that what is unseen is often the most powerful. It's about consistently prioritizing depth over speed, substance over spectacle, and, faithfulness in the process over clamoring for immediate recognition. These hidden foundations, the roots, they're what truly sustain lasting impact and give you that resilience when things get tough.
Absolutely. So as you reflect on all this, we want to leave you with a provocative thought today, something to maybe mull over.
Okay.
What unseen work are you cultivating today, right now? What could become the root system supporting a truly thriving, transformative impact in your life or your community or your work, maybe 10 years from now?